Well, good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our H.O.O.D Recovery Services. I'm looking forward to doing your spiritual principle a day in a meditation for August 2nd. Let's see. If you need to reach me, that's what I want to tell you. If you need to reach me, reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this meditation. Let's see, right here. Here we go. August 2nd. With independence comes responsibility. Page 223. Learning to make decisions for ourselves also means accepting responsibility for those decisions. Living Clean, Chapter 6, Finding Our Place in the World. We aren't alone, and we can't recover alone, but our commitment to mutual support doesn't negate our independence or the responsibility that attaining it and sustaining it demands. Even with all the apt suggestions we provide each other, our decisions about how we live are our own. And learning to live with those choices is its own beast. Some members define responsibility as the willingness to accept the consequences of our actions. Even clean, we have to keep learning the lesson that our choices aren't made in a vacuum. They affect those around us. When we find ourselves thinking, once again, I'm only hurting myself, it's time for a closer look. We may want to exercise freedom of choice with more awareness and care. And other members say, careful what you pray for, you just might get it. Often when we do get what we want, it's a whole other world of responsibility that is ours to manage. A romantic partnership, getting our kids back, a career, property, a new puppy, all of these are gifts we must care for in order to sustain. We keep what we have only with vigilance and also with commitment, discipline, patience, acceptance, passion, and a lot of love. Another aspect of taking responsibility for our independence is when, inevitably, we are faced with other people's opinions about a new direction we choose. At times, that "I told you so" reaction we get makes us defensively dig ourselves further into a bad choice. Or someone else's response spurs us to run from a good one. Blaming others gets us nowhere. Practicing independence requires an honest assessment of our choices in the face of others' reactions. We also heard members say, the more I make new mistakes rather than repeating old ones, the more I know I'm making headway in my life. I'm doing the best I can at living fully and owning my independence. I can live with my choices, and if not, I can make different ones. What a beautiful meditation. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful meditation. With independence comes responsibility. Now, I know many of you are vibing with this as you heard me read it, and you can relate to your own experiences, right? This responsibility in independence, the spiritual principle of responsibility, the spiritual principle of independence. People don't think of independence as a spiritual principle. However, people do know that at the end of the day, you are going to be the only person that is going to pay, not the only person, but you are going to pay the price for your own decision. And we don't live in a vacuum. So our decisions do affect other people. And that's why sometimes people that we've harmed don't want anything to do with us, because they're still living the consequence of your bad decision, our bad decision, right? So what do we do? How do we go about this differently? We always hear, no man is an island, self-sufficiency is a lie. And then we hear on the other end, you have to be responsible for your own choices. Don't expect other people to make the decision for you. When you ask your sponsor or your friend, what should I do? And they tell you what you should do, and then you do it, and it doesn't work out. What's the first thing we say? I should have never listened to you. Right? I should have never have listened to you. Now, when they tell us something to do and we don't do it, they're the first ones to say, and it don't work out, they're the first ones to say, I told you so. Right? So this ideal that our defiance can run us further into the hole of a bad decision is very real, because we're prideful people. Basically, every person has a sense of pride, and every level of pride is not always bad, right? Confidence in ourselves is not bad unless you're boastful about that confidence. Then it becomes very prideful, and then that becomes bad, right? So not good, right? It causes friction in our relationships. So when we're making decisions, it behooves us. It behooves us to go into prayer and meditation, to have conscious contact, right, with our higher power, and also to run it by at least one person whose judgment or, thinking their goodwill towards us, put it like that we trust. Some of my worst decisions that I've ever made in my life, that I'm still paying a high price for, some of the worst decisions I have ever made in my life that I am paying a high price for, came when I wanted to be grown. I wanted to make my own decision. And I knew the people, the adults around me, if I talked to them about it, were going to tell me to do something that I didn't want to do. And then I had to pay a very, 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 and I do mean a very, very high price for my behavior. That does not have to be your story at all. That doesn't have to be your story, even in the least little bit. You can be an individual that makes decisions and you are not afraid. You're not afraid to live them. You're not afraid to experience them. That can be you, right? You can make decisions and give yourself room to be wrong. What if you didn't make a mistake in the decision you chose? What about it? Like, is it going to end your life? Or is it just something that now you need to deal with? You need to face, you need to readjust. You need to tell the person, honestly, when I got into this, this is what I was expecting, but this is not what's happening. And I'm not going to tolerate this when I know I can do better. I know I'm always putting stuff in the context of a relationship, right? But it could be work. I wouldn't recommend just leaving a job without having backup, especially in this economy. But you don't have to stay on a job just because you accepted the position. You might get on that job and find out that there's a culture within the organization that you don't approve of. If you can do your job without having to interact with that culture and survive it, then that's fine. But what if the culture is in your face every day? What if the gossip and the bullying is a part of your day-to-day work? You're having to deal with that culture and it's not acceptable to you. Then find something else. It's okay to make a decision and know that you have to be responsible for it. And in the responsibility, you decide to make a different decision. How about that? How about that, just for today? Give yourself the privilege and the honor, the right and responsibility to make your own decision. And give yourself permission, if it doesn't work out, to make another decision. Doesn't mean that you're running. No, 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 no. It means that you are being responsible for the decisions that you make. You are being responsible for the decisions that you make. I am responsible. And people like this about me. They'll say she is so responsible. Yeah, to an overload sometimes. I mean, I'm responsible to an overkill sometimes, because a lot of times that means that I'm not trusting that other people will be responsible. So I'm just going to do it myself. If I want it done right, I will do it myself. Okay. But I don't want to intrude on other people's opportunity to learn how to be responsible. And that's why it's better for you to stay in your lane. Do what is yours to do and let others do what is theirs to do. Assume responsibility for what is yours to do and do it with a spirit of excellence. If in the working out of that, the aftermath of that good decision, you find out that is no longer a good decision, make another one. Give yourself permission to make another one. Now, why wouldn't you want to make a different decision if it's better than the first one you made? Pride, worrying about what people are going to think. People are going to think you so wishy-washy. She really don't know what she's doing. One minute she like this, the next minute she like that, right? And so what people think about you is not your business anyway. And they're usually passing thoughts. And if they're not passing thoughts, maybe they've always had them, and no matter what you do, they will always think them. The only people that you need to be responsible for are your minor children, right? Your minor children. I go through this with my husband all the time. I'm responsible for two little people that are almost as tall as me now, at 9, almost 10, and 11. Well, the 11-year-old is taller than me, and that's pretty tall because that means he's 5'7" at the age of 11, going into the 6th grade. So I'm responsible for them. I'm not responsible for other adults. I am responsible to make sure that they grow and mature emotionally. I'm responsible to make sure that my decisions as they impact their young lives is positive. I'm responsible that no harm should come to them, that they eat and they grow up to be responsible, respectful, young men with dignity in about themselves, well-mannered. That's my job. That's what I do for them because they're underage and I'm responsible for them. But if you're not dealing with children, see you later, bye. Whatever decision they need to make, let them make those decisions, but you make the best ones for your life. I can beat this one down. I could beat this horse to a pulp. This one is beautiful. This one is character building. This one is saying, hey, look, you're not in this world alone. You have people that you are affecting by your decisions, but you are responsible for the decisions you make. And if you go down the path of making awful decisions and not changing them for the better, the impact that you have on the people that are in your nucleus, your circle, if it's negative, then eventually they are going to need to be on your 8th and 9th step, right? That's looking down the road, but what I'm saying is be considerate when you're making decisions. Think about the outcome before you make them. Who am I impacting when I make this decision? Is this decision good for me and the people I'm responsible for? Is it just good for me? Or is it just, we can switch it now, is it just good for them? Am I going to be doing thus and so, and I'm going to be paying a high price emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically, right? And I'm going to burn out trying to do this. I would love for my boys to be taking lessons for soccer or baseball or track or learning an instrument. I would love for my boys to do that. This is not our season for that, but that season, stick with me. If you stick with me and you help me, that season, because I need your support, right? And I'm not talking financial. I'm talking about giving me encouragement and sharing and liking and subscribing and telling your friends about this channel. If I can build the demand for my material, I have no doubt that when this book of mine goes into publication, my life will change dramatically and I will be able to give them everything that I want to give them and everything they need. I am responsible for my life and theirs right now. So know who you're responsible to and for. But first and foremost, realize that people that are adults don't get to go on that list. You have to cut the umbilical cord at some point in time. You have to live your best authentic life and realize that that independence brings responsibility. And you have got to face the music. You've got to live responsibly. You've got to make your own decisions. It's time. And you know what? I know that you can do it. My name is Mighty Stream. I was going to do a new share. Sorry about that. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm excited to be with you. And I will be talking to you tomorrow. I want to make sure that you realize that your independence is yours, and so is the responsibility for it. Have a beautiful day.